Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein was fired yesterday by his own film studio. This is after the New York Times wrote a lengthy couple of pieces revealing he'd been repeatedly accused, incredibly accused, of sexual harassment by a lot of different women over the past several decades. Sharon Waxman spent a long time writing for the New York Times. She left to start The Wrap. She says the paper could have revealed Weinstein's alleged misdeeds all the way back in 2004, but spiked the piece instead. Sharon Waxman joins us tonight. Sharon, thanks for coming on. So,
Sure.
so to what extent did they have the story, are you saying, in 2004?
Yeah, so first of all, just one nuance, which is I said the piece was gutted, not spiked. The piece did run, but there was no reference to sexual anything or women in the piece. Clearly, the piece that Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey wrote last week was really a great piece of reporting, a lot of work. I had a piece of that story 13 years ago, and I was really very disappointed that we weren't able to get it into print. What appeared in print was a piece that was buried on the inside of the culture section, and it's basically talked about a Miramax executive. Miramax was the company that Harvey and Bob Weinstein had started originally, and it was owned by the Disney company at that time, and it was talked about him being on the payroll but then being fired. And it was kind of a confusing story if you didn't understand that what the role that person actually played was as a procurer for Harvey. That was what my sources had told me, and I had gone to Rome, I'd gone to Italy to find that story based on tips that I'd gotten, and I convinced my editor at the time to send me. And then a new editor came in, and that editor kind of inherited the story. And what appeared in print, after a great deal of pressure and pushback from Harvey Weinstein, as he always did when there was any negative story in the wings, he pushed back really hard.
Why did nobody write that story subsequently? I mean, I knew nothing about this, but it sounds like from all the accounts I've read, this was widely known. Is that true?
Who knew, and when did they know? That's what every person in Hollywood, from the actors, the actresses, to the executives themselves, should be asked in regard to Harvey Weinstein's sexually abusive behaviors. This is Rose McGowan. You may know her from her role in the hit TV show Charmed. Rose, along with many other women, have accused mega producer Harvey Weinstein of not only sexually harassing her, but raping her. What makes her story specifically significant is that she has attempted to tell it before. CNN, October 13th, 2017. Rose McGowan accuses Harvey Weinstein of rape. Rose McGowan granted an interview with Ronan Farrow earlier this year, according to two people with direct knowledge of the matter. Farrow was investigating Weinstein for NBC. In an on-the-record, on-camera interview, McGowan repeatedly said that Weinstein raped her. The interview was supposed to be part of a broader expose. Months later, while Farrow was still doing more reporting, McGowan reached out and asked him to remove her accusation from the story. NBC decided not to broadcast the story, so Farrow took his story to The New Yorker. They would broadcast his story. He recounted McGowan's plea to exclude her in the story without naming her as an example of the legal pressure that Weinstein accusers sometimes endure. We now know that the New York Times had at least general knowledge of Weinstein's activities since 2004, and that NBC also had an opportunity to run the story and decided to spike it. And courtesy of TMZ, on October 12, 2017, we found out that Harvey Weinstein's contract actually allows for sexual harassment. According to the contract, if Weinstein treated someone improperly in violation of the company's code of conduct, he must reimburse TWC for settlements or judgments. Additionally, you, Weinstein, will pay the company liquidated damages of $250,000 for the first such instance, $500,000 for the second such instance, $750,000 for the third such instance, and $1 million for each additional instance. The contract says as long as Weinstein pays, it constitutes a cure for the misconduct and no further action can be taken. Translation: Weinstein could be sued over and over, and as long as he wrote a check, he keeps his job. This contract means not only that the Weinstein Company knew of Harvey Weinstein's deviant sexual activities, but were complicit in covering them up. We know of 8 settlements at this point that Weinstein made with different women to stop them from going public. If the contract was in place when these settlements were made, Weinstein would have paid the Weinstein Company $6.5 million in hush money. I wonder how many people at the company heard the creepy audio tape of Weinstein essentially admitting to sexually assaulting Italian model Ambra Gutierrez that the New York City police obtained in an undercover sting operation in 2015.
I'm telling you right now.
What do we have to do here?
Nothing. I'm going to take a shower. You sit there and have a drink. Water.
Don't drink. Can I stay on the bar?
No, you must come here now.
No.
Please.
No, I don't want to.
I'm not doing anything with you. Now you're embarrassing me.
I'm sorry. I don't
come
know.
in.
No, yesterday was a kind of aggressive for
I
need to know a person's
I want to do a thing.
I don't want
Do a thing, please. I swear I won't. Just sit with me. Don't embarrass me in the hotel. I'm here all the time. Sit
know,
with me.
but
I
I don't
promise.
want to.
Please sit there. Please. 1 minute.
No,
I ask you.
can't.
Go to the bathroom.
Please, I don't want to do something I don't want
Go
to.
to the bathroom. Come here. Listen to me.
I want to go
I'm
upstairs.
not going to do anything. You'll never see me again after this. Okay? That's it. If you embarrass me in this hotel,
I'm not
stay.
embarrassing you. It's just that I don't feel comfortable.
I mean, don't have a fight with me in the
It's not
phone.
nice.
Please, I'm not going to do anything. I swear, my children. Please come in. On everything. I'm a famous guy.
I'm feeling very comfortable right
Please
now.
come in now. And 1 minute. And if you want to leave, when the guy comes with my
Why
jacket,
yesterday you touched my wrist?
please, I'm sorry. Just come on. I'm used to that. Come on.
Are you used to that?
Yes, come in.
No, but I'm not used to
I
that.
won't do it again. Come on. Sit here. Sit here for a minute, please.
No, I don't want to.
If you do this now, you will embarrass me. No. Never call me again. Okay, I'm sorry. I promise you I won't do anything. Look,
I know, but yesterday was too
the guy's
much.
coming. I will never do another thing to you. 5 minutes. Don't ruin your friendship with me for 5 minutes.
I know, but it's kind of like, it's too much for me. I can't.
Please, you're making a big scene here.
No,
Please.
but I want to leave.
Okay, goodbye. Thank you.
Hey girl, why don't you just stay here and have a drink while I go take a shower and rub soap all over my big fat hairy body? Yeah, just have a drink. What do you mean you don't want to? Oh yeah, there was the whole sexual harassment that took place literally 1 day ago, but that's not gonna happen again. Let me jump in the shower and you have that roofie drink that drink I just got you. Come on, what's the problem? Yeah, that shit's creepy, isn't it? That's essentially what you just heard on that tape. We now know that the New York Times squashed a story back in 2004 that would have exposed Weinstein's sexual activities. That NBC squashed a story earlier this year, having heard from a famous actress that Weinstein had raped her. That executives at the Weinstein Company had signed a contract with Weinstein, basically okaying his potentially sexually illegal activity as long as he paid them off. And the New York Police Department were at least vaguely aware of his activities because they ran an undercover sting operation where he essentially admitted to sexually harassing an Italian model. It must be nice to have friends high up in the government like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Let's find out who else in Hollywood, the mainstream media, just might have known of Weinstein's activities.
Sid, how long will it take to get a cease and desist order against Weird Al Yankovic? Oh, that's too bad. Did they also take away your handgun license?
Don't do it, J-Mo. You don't want to mess with Weird Al.
Oh, please. I'm not afraid of anyone in show business. I turned down intercourse with Harvey Weinstein on no less than 3 occasions out of 5.
I'm telling you, just let him do it.
The 2012 nominees for Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role are Sally Field in Lincoln, Anne Hathaway in Les Miserables, Jackie Weaver in Silver Linings Playbook, Helen Hunt in The Sessions, and Amy Adams in The Master. Congratulations, you 5 ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein.
The better question to ask very well may be, who didn't know? It seems that most executives in Hollywood and big positions of power in the mainstream media were aware of Weinstein's activities. It seems that most actors and actresses, whether from personal experience or rumor, were at least partially aware of Weinstein's activities. The New York City Police Department had knowledge of a Weinstein sexual assault. I wonder what stopped them from pressing forward. I guess we'll call that politics. Who else knew? This question is important. It's important because many of these same people, whether writing scripts or actors and actresses, spend so much time and energy lecturing the public about what is moral and what is virtuous. Do as I say, not as I do. If actions define people, then the people in Hollywood are far from the superheroes they play in movies. Although, sometimes lack of action speaks louder than words themselves. What does this say about the seemingly uniformal, progressive, which I have argued are actually regressive policies that Hollywood elites lecture us about accepting? Why did seemingly all of Hollywood back Hillary Clinton, who WikiLeaks has exposed as being perhaps the most corrupt politician in modern America? Please like and share this video. Click the bell on the bottom right to receive notifications when future videos are posted.
Dear members of the entertainment community,
Entertainment community.
Entertainment community.
we know that you're more famous than any of us. Well, most of us. I'm mad,
Distressed. Alarmed.
Infuriated.
It's your job to be creative. Creative.
creative.
And yet, how many of these lame-ass videos have you made that look exactly like this? Like this.
Like this.
You entertain us.
It's literally your whole job.
Here's what we ask.
No. Here's what we demand.
That you reject anything that is anti-original, anti-interesting,
Anti-convincing.
We demand that you try harder.
Harder. Harder.
If you do, we'll be with you
If not, we'll continue to not care
about anything
Anything.
anything.
you have to say. Signed, the majority.
The majority
The majority.
of the American people.